Hello, my name is Hidekuni or Hida, and welcome back to my channel. Today is the 30th of August and I am preparing for Connichi. It's already late afternoon and I have been preparing for this convention since this morning, something around that. So far I have already prepared our envelopes, which means that I have printed our name onto them, which is pretty neat because once you run out of business cards, you still have envelopes. And if you have someone that buys something, at least they still get your information. And that makes sure that they can tag you, that they can find you back and such. And I really like doing that because it already happened at the convention that I had no visit cards anymore and I couldn't hand them out anything. And back then I also didn't have my name on the envelope, and that's a bit sad then because it makes it very hard for them to find you back. And of course we had one business card left and they could take a picture, but it's not the same thing and people don't really want to go through that trouble, so that's totally understandable. And that's when I started printing on our envelopes. Today I have printed 250 envelopes and it takes quite some time because I always have to refill the printer and tell the printer to print them in the first place, because you can only select a maximum of 99 prints, but I always print in 50 steps because I always have to pack in 50 steps, so I always know when one package is full. And it takes some time, but it's something I just do in the background while doing other things. And while I was printing them, I also finished my tutorial button because I wanted to have him done for today. And I was almost done. I just had to finish his face, give him his dots and some highlighters and all that, and now he's done, and I hope the buttons turn out well. I have already printed my 8 button sheets as well. Each sheet has 16 buttons, so that gives me a total of 144 buttons, which I will make for tomorrow. So far I have them printed. I still have to cut them out and then make the buttons. Here are my buttons and here's the tutorial, and I hope it turns out good. Then I have my good woman buttons, a bunch of FNAF, more FNAF, more FNAF because I sold so much FNAF at Dream On. Then my quirk buttons, Bill Cypher, more quirk buttons, and my not safe for work NASA pin, and then my little opossums and some Boku no Hero ones. Yes, that's the ones I need. Also, I ran out of envelopes, I noticed last convention, so I ordered them Monday morning and they arrived today, which is great. I love that they are super fast. They are also from Germany, so it's like somewhat local, it's like in the same country. And yes, so I prepared my envelopes. Something else that has arrived yesterday and today are my prints. Yesterday my mini prints arrived because I was low on stock with some. Here are all the prints I stocked up onto, which are Hawks, Darby with his white hair, and Aizawa from My Hero Academia. Then I have Alistair and Angel Dust from Hazbin Hotel. And here is Azi Raphael and Crowley from Good Omens. There is an Azi Raphael hiding. Where are you going? There you go. But yes, all my little prints so far that I had to restock. I by accident ordered them as glossy. Usually I go for matte because I love matte, and I was a bit frustrated when I noticed because it already happened before, and it already happened with the mini prints, and it already happened with another, like my usual company I go to, and it was a bit frustrating. It always is because it's a mistake I often do, and so I was a bit, not very pleased with it. But now looking at the mini prints, I think the gloss actually adds up to them. They look very good with it, so I'm not that mad about it. And I will probably keep ordering them in glossy because I don't know, it just has its flair. So it's a happy little accident, I would say. And yeah, but I still like the matte option for my bigger prints. Also, I thought my mini prints would arrive tomorrow because they say it's between the 30th and the 31st, but they actually arrived yesterday, which is great. Like, I'm not complaining. I love it when things arrive much earlier than they are scheduled because then I'm sure that I have them, which is neat. Then today, while I was already preparing things, my postman came by and brought me a Starion, and I really like how he turned out. I hope you can see him, the little vampire guy. Can I please focus somewhat? I'm very happy with how he turned out. The colors look very good. Of course, I love the texture of it, and I really like the illustration now, more than before. So mostly what I have to do today is pack the car. Not completely, because I wasn't bothered to empty the car from the last convention, because there's no point in me emptying the car for 3 days and then just get everything out and then get everything in a short time later, and no. So most things are already in. I just have to get all the new things in, like this prints I have stocked up, my button box, and also our clothes, because this is a convention where we stay away from home for 4 days, something like that. From tomorrow we drive Thursday till Monday, like, yeah, around 4 days, something like that. But we have to pack everything, which means our car will be much more packed, and I hope we get everything in and everything fits in and that we don't forget anything, because that's my biggest concern, forgetting something. And if I find time, which I hope I find some time, is finish my painting, because I would love to finish my painting. Also, we don't have to drive as early tomorrow, because you can set up your table until 8 o'clock in the evening, and the convention itself only starts at 2 o'clock on Friday, which is great, because Friday usually not as many people come, because most people work or go to school, and yes, so you don't lose your time in the morning, because it will be so empty. Although it's a big con, I can still imagine there will be some people, but it's still not Saturday nor Sunday, because sometimes at conventions the busiest day are Sundays, because that's when nobody almost is working and most people have time. I'm very looking forward for Connichi. It's the first time I'm attending that convention. Like, I wasn't even there as a visitor before, because it used to be in Kassel, which is like 5 hours away. Yeah, something like that. It's 5 hours, and no. Which reminds me that some artists like travel for more than 5 hours for conventions, and that's insane. It's something I can't imagine, because we have many little events and little convention, medium convention, not that far away, so I don't know. It's insane to travel so far for a con. Also, with all the things you have to sell and the things you need for these days, it's still interesting to see in, like, but no, I don't travel far. I usually stay pretty local, up to 3 hours or so. And yeah. What else? But we luckily don't have to drive as early tomorrow, so like we will drive in the early afternoon and then see how this is going. I also think we stay in a little house, so we can cook for ourselves and are pretty calm and chill on our own, and that really calms me down. It's like our own little place for these days, and just having a cute little home to rest and cook. Yes, that was it so far. I will keep working now. I will keep preparing all my things. I don't know if I will record in the evening. Maybe I will just record when we arrive and driving, so I have to see, but I try to make this interesting. Another thing I did that day was paint this easel, this soft lavender color, because my boyfriend saw the display I created for my zine, and he asked if I could make one for him as well, but due to the lack of time I couldn't create one for him, so I had this easel at home and I just painted it so he could use it for his table, and I think it fits his color scheme super well.
I am scared.
Me too, man. So let's have a little update. It is Sunday actually because I didn't film anything the last 2 days because I was very busy. I filmed a bit on Sunday, but not yesterday because Saturday was sold out and there were many people there, and I had like 7 commissions over the whole day yesterday, and I still have to finish a commission today, and I had one on Friday, so I didn't really manage to go around. Like I went around when I had time on Sunday, and Saturday morning. When did I film? I filmed Saturday morning. No, I filmed Friday morning when we built up, and we're pretty much done because there was nothing happening until 2, because from 12 to 2 they went around and controlled all the booths because they have a 50% fan and 50% original art rule, and it went great. Like I even counted my stuff. I have 100 original things and 60 fan art things, but by now I sold some things out, so I restocked, so now that's a bit different. But so far it went great. I really love the convention so far. The people are the nicest people I've ever met at the convention, and so are my booth neighbors. They're so great and I love them. And to go over my booth, so far nothing much has changed on my booth itself, except I have sold out on Astarion and put on 2 Pokemon prints. Then the other thing I have sold out is my Cabarrus patch, which I have to see what I put on there now. Maybe I put one from here up there and fill it out. I also changed my wood piece because I gave mine to Ellie because it suits better to his book, and I got the one I prepared for Ellie because it suits better to my book. And on Friday I already had mine and it didn't really show my zine. Now I have this one, and I even sold 4 yesterday. And yes, what else? I'm selling really well on these. Like these are all the ones that I left, and I'm selling out on the big ones. I sold some peppies. I overall sell many patches. And I had a person yesterday, and the moment I saw her, she just looked like she would like the Yellow King and all, and she recognized the Yellow King even and was like very in love with it, and she really loves the original and said she wanted to get it, but then she wasn't unsure, and then she said if it's still here today she will get it. And I hope he comes by and gets it because it's a lovely piece. I really like it, and she just seemed like the right person for that original. Also my Aizawa TD covers, because all nipples at this convention have to be censored. Same goes for Kenripped, and I even censored things in here. Whoopsie. But there are also things censored. And yes, I also sell very well on my Good Omen buttons. Well, these are not buttons, but you get the point. And yes, in general I sell many originals. Like this one sells also very well. I sold one of these. I sold 2 of these and 1 of these and 1 of these, I think. Like my traditional artwork also sells very well. And yeah, of course Silco, because daddy. Then I will probably sell out on Hawks today and on my white-haired derby because people love my white-haired derby. And yes, that's so far everything. And today's the last day, and I'm very excited to see how it's going and what will happen. I am actually a bit late to film this right now because it's actually already the 14th of September, which is like almost 2 weeks, like 1.5 week after the convention, because I was just very stressed. Like the week after Connichi was more relaxed and such, but I needed the time for myself, so I was just like, oh, I won't film this now, I will film it next week. And yeah, I'm filming it. So let's talk about Connichi. We drove to Connichi on Thursday and we took around 3 hours, which was rather nice. And then we arrived around 5 because we only left at 2 because we needed the morning to pack everything and do the buttons, make the buttons, because somehow we had a lot to do. We arrived around 5 at the convention, and the drive in itself was very pleasant, very chill, very well. And also the city itself, it was not too hard to drive it, and it's a very pretty city also, but the only thing is it was very busy and all the cars were there, and sometimes they were a bit stressed and pushing us because we never were in Wiesbaden before, so we have no idea about the streets, and we had to figure things out, and we had some issues with the phone and Google Maps at times, so some people were very stressed behind us, and that was not very pleasant, but for the rest it went all well. For the parking itself, he parked under the convention building, and I think it has around 800 spots free for cars. In total we had to pay 10 euros total per day, which is 35 euros we spent on it because we needed to unpack and build up on Thursday and then the 3 convention days. That's actually a price that is okay. Like, I think if we go to Dokumi, the price for parking is around the same. So for that kind of con and the size of the convention it was normal. Like, I didn't mind it. Also, like, it was like right under the convention itself and it wasn't far away, so even during the convention I just could go out and get the things, or if I forgot something or if I wanted to put something there, that was very pleasant. The only thing is they didn't reserve extra spots for the exhibitors and such, so you had to be there early and get a spot, but usually it was no problem. Like, also during the convention we were like 1 to 2 hours earlier there before the convention started, and there were still spots. And also when I once walked back during the day, there were still a few spots, like not many, so there is a risk that it was full at some time, but we never had an issue with that, so that was pleasant. Then the big deal of the convention for many artists, I think, was the tables were only 120 wide and 16 deep, so that was a lot of fun to build up. And I'm a person, I usually don't think too much about my setup, I just bring my things and I see what I can fit on my table. So I had to figure some things out. Like, I barely managed to get 4 of my wire shelves next to each other, and I had to improvise. So on the edge I didn't put my little feet on, I just put them away, and then I used, how is it called in English? Okay, and yeah, I didn't use my feet on the outside to save like this a few centimeters, but it was important that I did that. And I used zip ties to put my shelves together, and then in the middle, the 2 wire shelves that met in the middle, I didn't put them together properly as well, but I overlapped them a bit, and then I also zip tied them together. Like that I could save space, and I had like almost 4 wire shelves next to each other. And then on top of that I just built my regular build up because I wanted to keep my big window, because I don't like small windows. I wanted to have my big window, and to not completely lose that space, I just also put prints inside of the window, and I hope I filmed that and I put some footage of that on top of it. But yes, I did that. I can understand why their tables were so small, because maybe they just wanted to fit in many different artists, and due to that they had to reduce the size table. But it was a complaint of many artists that these tables were a bit too small and a bit frustrating, and they wish bigger tables. I like to have a bigger table, but if that's the space I get, I manage. Like, until now I always managed. Also, NonkeCon was the smallest convention, and I think their tables were also 120 to 125, but the space behind the tables were like, it was so damn tight. Like, it was like half a meter till a meter of space behind the table, and that was the tightest con I ever was. But I managed, and I will probably still manage in the future. But yes, that was one of the things for Connichi. Then the artist alley was completely, I think almost completely, in that one big hall, and the ceiling was super high. And that weekend, like around that time, it was also very warm outside, but due to the hall being this high and such, also the doors being open, and I think they also had some air conditionings on, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, but it was very pleasant to be there. Like, it was sometimes a bit warmer, and but during the 3 days it wasn't too warm. It was cozy, it was pleasant, and I had at times air passing me, and it was very nice. I really liked it. Like, from the location, from the hall where the artists were, it was great. I loved it. From the spot we were sitting, you had like this big hall, and here was the entrance, and when you entered, we were here at the corner facing the wall. Right? We didn't even have neighbors in front of us. No, we were like the outside of the outside. We were the outsiders. And I was just staying for 3 days at that very pretty wooden wall, I guess. And I was a bit concerned at first because it's the outside and the people, they might not go there. And also I thought the corner we were sitting, there would be a door open, but it wasn't just the front door that was open. And I was really scared that, oh, people will not come by. But at the end, most people went through the middle, so there was a lot of traffic and people could not move forward, so they were stuck. So other people probably just preferred to go around, and I constantly, all the time, had people walking by and passing, and that was very pleasant. So I had all the time movement in front of my table. Usually people were not stuck there and blocked off other people from seeing my table, and I think it was actually beneficial to sit there. Like, from the spot I was, it was great. So the convention in itself had a great spot, the artist alley had a great spot, and my table had a great spot. I cannot complain about it, and I'm very happy with how it went. Then, when we had to build up, I already knew ahead that they had a rule about 50% fan art, 50% original art, and you could not have more than 50% fan art. And the other thing was that you had to censor the primary and secondary sexual parts, which I did. I covered all my nipples on the spot when I was building up, so I cut out little nipple covers from my tape and just put them on with Patafix, and it all worked all right. And yes, I had no issues with that, and I understand that they wanted it to be equal, but then I think just free the nipples of everyone and just also show female nipples, because I think that's not a big deal. Because the other thing is also, while I was sitting there selling, I had cosplayers nipple free standing in front of me, and they were literally like just pushed into my face, and I was just like, what's the difference of having the art covered, but the cosplayers, which is also a form of art, but they are real, why are they not covered? Like, I don't understand that. Like, I think it doesn't make sense for me personally, but the convention can do what they want to do. Like, I don't mind either way. I just think from a personal point of view, like, if you want to cover the nipples, the sweet titties, just cover them all up, or just free them all if you want equality in that. But yeah, I covered all mine up. Like, people laughed at how I covered up Aizawa's titties because I just put on these cat patches, and I think it just suited that artwork because he's a little kitten in that artwork, and it made many people laugh. And like, we built up on Thursday, and on Friday from 12 till 2 o'clock, the 2 hours before the convention would start, the Connichi team would come by and check each single table. Some of the people even got emails when they applied for Connichi, and they had a lot of fan art in their portfolio. They even got emails saying, oh, you will be one of the first we will control because you have a lot of fan art. We didn't get one of these because usually I have a variety of things in my portfolio, and I always have pictures of previous tables I had at conventions in my portfolio, so I didn't get such an email, but a friend of us got it. And they in fact came by. They checked each single table. There were 3 people. One was checking the fan art and the original art quantity. The other one was checking for the nipples. The third one was also there to check and see if everything's going all right. And they were very consistent with that, which I'm very happy about, because I was wondering, are they super strict and do that, or are they like just threatening the artist and then don't do anything at all? And I like that they actually did that at the end. they came by, and by the time I was finished with my table setup, I counted all my originals and all my fan art pieces. And I have many fan art buttons, so I was scared I would be over the 50%. But on the other hand, I have many stickers, I have many patches that are original art. So I was like, I should be fine. And at the end, I had 100 pieces of original art and only 60 pieces of fan art. So that was great. I managed it. I also proudly told them that because I was very happy about that achievement somehow. And they were also very happy with my table. And then they also asked, do you have any nipples? And I was like, no, I have them covered, I have these covered, I have everything covered up. And they were very friendly. And then they moved on. So I was fine for my 3 days. But if they had problems with your table, they would come back the day after to check if you changed anything. So they were also very consistent about that. And yeah, if that's what they want, just give them what they want. Another thing, when I was setting up everything, I already had my neighbor to the right, left, to the left, my left. I was sitting at my table. My left neighbor was already set up, and I was a bit scared. I'm usually a bit scared about other artists, and usually they just do their things and I do my things and everyone is stressed. That's why I also not necessarily initiate any talks. I just be like, hello, and say hi and see how their energy is like. And my right neighbor was already all set up and such, and the first day we didn't talk much because I was a bit intimidated by her. But then the second day we started talking and she was super friendly and we talked so much during the 3 days, and it was just very pleasant. I never had that. Like, the convention itself had such many great and friendly artists, and I had so much fun over those 3 days. Also, just by talking with my left neighbor, but also with my right neighbor, because on Friday morning my right neighbor came and they were also super friendly and they were just both great, and I really enjoyed having them there and spending those 3 days with them. And I don't know, I just connected to them, and I hope I can see them once again at the other convention, and I'm very excited. And I feel like I made friends with other artists, and it's just so cool. In general, having artist friends is great. It just motivates you to continue and share your things and such. And I really enjoyed the weekend with those two. And in general, also other artists, when I saw them come by and just talk to them. And then, not only the artists were friendly, but also the people were the sweetest beings ever. Like, I love Dokumi because there are so many people, many of them will talk with you. Also at smaller cons, there are so less people that they will also end up talking with you because they don't have many artists to go to. But I don't know, Connichi was just such a great atmosphere overall. I don't know if people in Wiesbaden are just super friendly and the environment as well, but they were just the sweetest beings, and they kept standing at my table and talking to me and just being so sweet, like about my art, about me, but also in general, like, I don't know. And I even like met people that I have seen at other conventions, which is first of all the greatest thing ever, if they recognize you or if they specifically come to you because they know you are there. And it just warms my heart to know that there are some people that enjoy my art, like me, maybe, I don't know, but they enjoy my art and they recognize my art, and then they come to my table on that day being like, oh, you are one of the reasons I'm here now. Like, I specifically looked out for you, and that is so sweet. And I think it gives an artist also so much motivation and a reason to keep going, because I don't know, it's just such a precious and important feat and thing for me. I had like my Yellow King canvas up. Okay, that's the side story, but I had my Yellow King canvas up, and there was one lady that just came by, and I knew that lady wants that painting. I don't know, I just had to feel. I saw what she had already bought from other artists, but I also saw her aesthetic and vibe, and I was like, that person needs that painting. And she indeed was so interested. It was like, if it still hangs tomorrow, I will come by and buy it. And at the end, it also turned out that she bought it, and that means just so damn much to me. And I really like if I know my originals come to, like, go to a person that just suits them very well and will appreciate them and take care of them. And that's also so important and meaningful. But before the painting got bought, there was another person coming by on Saturday who was like, oh, I bought another one of your originals. And then they talked about where they have displayed the original. When they're on the webcam, the other people can always see my painting and give it a lot of compliments, and that they like having it there and sometimes just take it and look at it. Or also because, especially with my small originals, you can just take them and feel them, because that's something I also really like about the small paintings. You can feel the texture because they're protected, so you can touch them, but it's just also very special to just hold them. And I don't know, and it was just making my day knowing where that original has ended up, that the person often looks at it, that other people see it, and it's just so damn special. Like, I love it. And I don't know, Connichi made my days, made my year. Like, it was for me the best convention of the year, not necessarily money wise, but just of how sweet the people were. It was just so precious. I really love that I was there, and I really want to come back next year. Like, it means so much. Then again, the people were also so crazy about my commissions. I think, wait, let me think. I will also put my commissions somewhere up here because I want to show them to you. But I had, I think, one commission on Friday. Then I had one commission. No, not one commission. I had 7 commissions on Saturday. And then I also had some on Sunday. I don't know. I think there was also 1 or 2. I think I had a total of 8 or 9 commissions over 3 days. And Saturday killed me. Like, I was working constantly on the commissions, just drawing and drawing and drawing and non-stop. And many people tell me I charge too less for the amount I do for my commissions because it's line art and I love to put in gold. But I don't know, it's just what I do. It's just what I want to do because I want them to be affordable. I enjoy doing them, and for me it's like a special convention feature. It's like you don't get these commissions anywhere else but at my table at a convention, and that's why I like my 15 euros per commission and such. But I did so many, and I'm in love with some of them, and the people also like them a lot, and it makes me very happy because it's something you get at the convention. It's very unique. It's something only you at the end have because it's also an original, and I just really like to make people happy. And there was also one person who came to me for a commission, which I met 2 weeks before Connichi at Samtigen at that convention, and they came to me and was like, oh, I want a commission, but you can draw whatever you want. So I was like, really? And then I decided to sketch Lucid because, you know, he is my most beloved. He is my icon here on YouTube and everywhere else at the moment, and he is just my most precious bean. So I was okay, all right, I draw Lucid for you. And they also really liked how it turned out. But then that same day, Saturday, shortly after, another person came by, was aiming to come by, and was like, I want a commission from you, but I want a very specific character. I was like, okay, cool. They just give me, I don't know, a character from an anime or something else. And they were like, no, I want one of your characters. And I was like, what? Who? And they had seen Lucid, the cover of my zine, and they were looking on Instagram for that character. I was like, this one? And I took my zine and they were like, yes, that one. I was so amazed that they wanted also my baby, that they wanted me to draw him for them. And I was so honored that for the first time someone commissioned my own character for a convention sketch. That was such a great feeling as well. Like, in general, Connichi just checked so many great feelings out, and I just love it. So I drew Lucy twice in a day, which was very unexpected for me, and I don't know, it just made me so happy. And then of course I showed it to my boyfriend, who was there because he also just loves Lucid and was very like protective over him and was like, how dare you? So I even managed to walk around at the artist alley, which I rarely do because, first of all, I'm stressed. Secondly, I just like selling and working because it's my work. I want to do this professionally eventually, and it's my work, so I don't go around and spend money. That's why I have my partner. He walks around and spends all the money. And I also want to make a haul of what we got, because we got many things, many great things, and I think this video will just take an eternity, but oh well, here we are. And yes, but I even managed to go around, walk around, and you know, I also sometimes walk around Hidekuni, and Hidekuni has 600, 700, 750 artists or such, and sometimes I find something that's very interesting and I want. But it doesn't happen very often. Here at Connichi, I literally just walked around and every second table had something I wanted. The artists they took in were just all very great, and I think they had such a great mixture of everything. And I don't know, like when I applied, they said like, yeah, they will choose some artists and then they will like blind pick some artists, something like that. But just with all the artists they got at the end, I think they had a very nice mixture and very great artists. Like I was so amazed by everything I've seen. But I only walked through the artist alley and not through the merchants or anywhere else, because that was too far. Like I couldn't have done that. That's not me. I don't do that. I am only at the artist alley. But overall, the convention had also a great spot. Like if you needed something during the convention, there was a small supermarket. It's called Aldi. Not that far away, and in general also other things. There was also pharmacy and such. And then also the security was great. Like they were very friendly, they checked your bags and such. I never had a problem. I even like forgot our Coke at the Airbnb, so we didn't have any, so I just sprinted to Aldi and get like a big bottle, and I was like, I hope they don't make a fuss out of it, because it's a big bottle of cola. And I just went there like, hey, I hope it's fine now, I work here. And I was like, oh yeah, no, it's no problem, just walk in. And I just loved how friendly they also were, and yeah, they just did their job. During the convention, we stayed at our Airbnb, which was like 25 minutes away from Wiesbaden, because we prefer to have a stay outside of the cities usually of the conventions, because these are expensive. So we just had a little Airbnb in a little village, and it was a full flat with kitchen and all, and we could cook in the evenings, which was wonderful because I like to cook, or like at least have cooked food during the convention, because my boyfriend actually cooked and I cleaned up. Sharing the tasks is important. And also they were super friendly, and because they were so friendly and so great and had everything, I drew their cat Nemo on Saturday evening, and they really enjoyed it as well afterwards, because they wrote a message, and I'm just happy they liked it. But yes, the Airbnb was great, and in general I just prefer Airbnbs where you just have your own space, you can cook, you can have your fridge and all, and just don't have to stay in a hotel that are very expensive for very little. But yes, also across the street there was a super good Asian restaurant, and we were there on Sunday evening. Like usually we go after the convention, eat something, it's a ritual of us, and just enjoy a meal and don't worry about it. And apparently they were so overwhelmed by the convention, they had no idea what was going on, no one told them, and they were like across the street. There was a street in between the convention center and them, and no one told them. And of course, anime, manga conventions, Asian food, all the people went there, and some people had to wait like 1 to 2 hours because they didn't have all the things there over prepared for so many people, so they got a lot of bad feedback. But their food was, oh my god, it was, I think, the best food I ever had. And I want to go back there, please. But yeah, if you go there, just get food there. And they are so friendly, so sweet. They have reasonable prices for the big portions they give you. And also their lemonades were fantastic. They're self-made things. Like, go there. Give them support, give them love if you're at Connichi in Wiesbaden next year. And leave your money there because it's worth it. Speaking of money, let's get to the most important question, which is, how much did it cost for me to go there and how much did I make? Because I think it's very important to be transparent about it and tell people about it, especially other artists, because then they can see, okay, how much do I have to spend? How much can I expect? I always share my table to show you what I sell, and usually also tell you now what I sold most, so you have a feeling of what I do, how much I had to spend, and how much I got. Because from what I heard after the convention, many people, many artists won't come back because apparently they did not good. They made like barely black numbers, and they were very frustrated by it. And I was a bit surprised when I hear that, because I couldn't agree to that, like, because I had a great time at Connichi people, but also I made profit. I made a lot of profit, and I'm very happy about what I made. So I also give you very rough numbers for my expenses, because I cannot be bothered to look that properly up, because I also usually just make it very rough. But I had around 200 euros for me and my partner for the Airbnb. It's not the complete price of the Airbnb because my boyfriend pays his things, but an Airbnb for 2 people, we had to spend 200 euros. Then the gas, I just say we needed like a bit more than a tank to get there and back. So I just be like, okay, we pay 1 tank of gas for sure, which is 50 bucks. So we are 250 right now. Then the table, because we were 2 people. Usually I think a table for 1 person costs around 120, I think 120, 130, something like that. But because I always bring my partner, we had to spend 240. 238 or 240, we should say 240, which brings us, oh, and the 35 euros parking, which we split by half, which is then 17 euros for us, which brings us to a rough amount of money of 507 euros in expenses. We can even say 600, let's make it 600, like I could say 500, but just to be sure, let's say I spent 600 euros on those 4 days, because you also slept like 4 days there, that one on Airbnb. But yes, 600 euros. But yes, the sales I made was worth 1,440 euros and 2 cents, because someone gave me 2 cents. That's the exact number I made, because I'm very precise about that number, because I really want to know what I got. But yes, it's 1,440 euros and 2 cents. Which leaves me, if you take those 1,440 euros and 2 cents minus the 600, we get a total of 840 euros and 2 cents of profit, which is for me a good amount of money, which is for me great and for me profitable. Why I want to come back to Connichi. But the thing is, I don't speak often with other artists about money. Many were like, oh, it was not profitable for me, and here and there. But then I'm like, I have no idea what is profitable for you and what not. I still hope that most people could cover the expenses, because it's awful to sit on them, because that's what I had at Comic Con Dortmund. Was it Dortmund? Yes, it was Comic Con Dortmund, where we barely made enough to cover our expenses, and that was so frustrating. Like, I will probably not go to Comic Con Dortmund in the near future, because I don't know, it's not vibing with me. But yes, Connichi, worth it, totally worth it for me. Talking about my table, I sold unbelievable many patches. I sold many buttons. Those are the things that don't cost necessarily as much money. My buttons sell for 3 euros a piece, and I sold many of them. My stickers, 2 euros or 4 euros, depending if which one you take. So that are the smaller things, and I sold many buttons, I sold some stickers, I sold many patches. My patches, the ones I sold most were the ones for 5 euros, which are around hand size big, something like that. And I sold many of them because, again, I don't see other artists sell them, so it's something very special still. I sold some prints, like the usual amount. I sold out on Asterion, and I think I sold out on my Good Omens things, and on Alistair and Angel Dust from Has-Been Hotel. In general, Baldur's Gate is new out. Then Has-Been Hotel and Five Nights at Freddy's, almost nobody has that. So people are always so excited and happy whenever they see my things of those fandoms. I sold also, like, I still sell many original things, like especially my T-Rex postcard. People love him because he's so silly and sweet and cute, and oh my god. What also brought me a good amount of money was selling my original for 60 bucks. It's like immediately 60 euros. Then also my zine. I sold 4 in total. Each scene is 15 euros. That's also a total of 60 euros. So I have right away 120 euros by selling 5 items. That's why I think it's very important to have like things that cost not a lot of money, then the middle class objects, and then like the things that cost a lot of money, because like that you have of everything. Of course, the more expensive things are harder to sell, but once you sell it, you have a big amount of money right away. On the other hand, you constantly sell on the smaller things, like my buttons. I constantly sold buttons. I really like my buttons. But it's very important to have of everything, so everyone is pleased. To have also of fandoms you like, but also original art, because I even like my crack buttons. It's something, it's an original thing. Of course, it's My Hero Academia inspired, but it's like an original design I made. And also my Shiba Inu no button sold so much. And my Baphomets, they also sell lots. Like, of course, I sell a lot of fan art, but I also sell still, compared to it, a lot of my original art. And people are very hyped about my original art. And yes, that's about the money situation. And overall, friendly people, profitable for me, not too far away. I want to go back to Connichi. Like, I think it's a great convention. They moved from Kassel to Wiesbaden. It was not the first convention they had, and I think they did a fantastic job. The only thing I noticed, some of the staff members were a bit stressed, and especially in the evenings they kicked us out and were a bit rude, which was a bit unpleasant and stressful. It's also one of the reasons why we forgot one evening our little fridge bag at the table with all the things inside, so we couldn't bring them back home to put in the fridge and keep them properly cold. Of course, they will somewhat stay cold in the fridge, in the bag, but it's not a proper fridge, it's just a fridge bag. But so that was a bit unpleasant. And also we only had like our little paper to check into the con and out of the con. Like when you left the building and entered the building, you had your QR code and such. But the thing is, you could not distinguish a visitor from an exhibitor, and so they were a bit rude and were like, oh, they assumed we were visitors at times, and were like, oh, it's closed and here and there, and that was a bit stressful. And the attitude was a bit, oh, don't do that, please, just be like friendly. Also, if you're tired, I understand it. I literally work with customers. I have to stay friendly. If you're rude, that is a bad image, and you don't do that even if you're tired. But yes, that is like one thing I can see them improve, is like maybe make it more visible for the exhibitors, like either like a badge or like a bracelet that's a bit more visible, because you had those golden ones, but I think they didn't really take care of that. And yes, that's the only thing I have like a little complaint about. But I can totally understand if you're also tired at like 3 days in the evenings. Like, it's a lot. Also, they had like to set everything up days before, and I can understand that. Like, I don't want to come across as mean, I just like, it's a little bit of a heads up, so yeah. But that was everything of Connichi. I like, we bought a lot, and I want to make a haul in this video, but I don't know if it might be too long, so I might just do it in another video. I have to see now. But like, if the video goes on, I am having a haul in here. But yes, showing you everything I got, because I got one thing, and then showing everything my partner got, my boyfriend got, and just partially gifted me. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you're still here, I appreciate it a lot. I enjoyed Connichi also a lot, and maybe you want to come by next year. If you have any questions or feedback, please let me know down in the comments, because I like to improve and I like to answer questions. And I wish you a very good day or night wherever you are, and bye.